I recall waking up at my dad's house around 9:30 in the morning. Though I didn't get up until about half an hour later, after working on editing together the February 18, my dinner video, the U-Cut video project file for that video. I recall during that half hour I did most of the editing. For that U-Cut video project file, putting together most of the videos and photos involved, the videos being referred to as raw video files, as they're unedited, and the photos are for the photo part at the beginning of each my dinner video these days. These days. Around 10:30 in the morning, I had, with my first cup of plain coffee, some granola, only I had, if I recall it, there was some vanilla flavoring with that granola, and I had it as a cereal, with whole milk. And my dad suggested having that granola cereal. And initially, after that, hearing that suggestion, I considered having soup instead at that time, thinking that it would be healthier to have soup, because maybe that would be more keto friendly, before ultimately deciding on having that granola as cereal after a short while. Some thought. As the whole milk would be keto friendly. I'm currently having a glass of whole milk with this chicken some of a homemade chicken pot pie that my dad's mom made. And then gave to my dad today while he was visiting his parents' place. While I was at work at Wegmans today. I worked at Wegmans today from 1:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. During which I recall for about the first hour, I alternated between the banana section of the produce department and the hard items of the produce department. That section of the produce department. For which I primarily deal with our various potato and onion products. At least that's what I restock most often. Within the hard items section of the produce department. Then for the rest of my shift today, after the first hour, I primarily restocked the mushroom section of the produce department. The mushroom section being at the very front of the produce department, or at least towards the very front of the produce department, while the banana section is at the very back of the produce department, or closest to the produce holding area, the part of the employees only warehouse that's meant for those who work within the produce department, such as me. I took my one and only 15-minute break at 6:30 p.m. And it took me until It was about 6:15 p.m. when I finished restocking everything I could from the mushroom runner. Then I brought out from the cooler part of the produce holding area to restock the mushroom section. There were kind of 3 different stacks of different, essentially flat boxes or relatively flat boxes. About the thickness of a pizza box or so. That you would expect from pizza delivery. Maybe twice that. With the middle stack having relatively short boxes that aren't very long, primarily consisting of various mushroom products of either 4 or 8 ounces. While the stacks on more towards the 2 ends of the runner, they also contain some 8-ounce products, but from here on out, it's primarily 20-ounce. That's where the larger quantities of mushroom products are. At times I had to look through the stacks in order to determine how to restock the mushroom section in order to determine how much space to make for each product, and I had to rotate the product so that a product with an earlier sell-by date would be in front of product with a later sell-by date. And when it comes to the mushroom section, there's 2 ways a product can be in front. Either horizontally or vertically. And so I had to take that into account too. This macaroni and cheese is some of the leftover from what Dad's mom gave him and ultimately to us. Because my dad shared some with me during a visit my dad made prior to today. The chicken pot pie and the macaroni and cheese are both pretty good. During my 15-minute break, towards the very end of my shift, I had... they didn't have any mild cheddar cheese sticks, so I had 3 mozzarella cheese sticks. in the break room. And it's part of what's provided to employees in the break room. And as I was restocking the mushroom section, every now and then I would feel the need to restock the banana section. And at one point when I restocked it from it pretty much being barren, just some bananas here and there, I had to reload the banana runner used to restock the banana section twice by bringing the empty runner after taking care of the empty banana boxes and then putting new full banana boxes onto the runner. I could just barely get 3 stacks on that particular banana runner that was used today, but with the first 2 being the standard 4 boxes, but the third, the first time I reloaded the banana runner was 2 and then 3 the second time, and that was by this time around both times putting the boxes on kind of sideways, either sideways or slanted. Yeah, I think the boxes were okay being put on that way. There are these kind of metal it reminds me at this time of what's something that's used to move luggage. One of those runners kind of reminded like that, only it's only at the end. There aren't bars across the runner that connect the ends to each other. And these metal bar ends one of those ends kept those sideways / slanted full banana boxes in place until I needed to reload the banana section using those full banana boxes. Then there wasn't any need for them to really be kept in place. They were made empty, and I put them back on the banana runner. I recall sometime between 12:30 and 1 p.m., leaning towards 12:30 p.m., but my dad drove me to the Wegmans I work at towards 1 p.m. Started driving me around that time. Yeah, but towards 12:30 p.m. I had 2 mild cheddar cheese sticks as a sort of a little snack or supplement, later supplement to the granola I had as cereal with whole milk to ensure I wouldn't feel hungry. It was initially suggested I have some of the leftover macaroni and cheese, but I felt that would be too big of a meal to have. If you eat a big meal, you'll feel tired for at least a while afterwards. Maybe half an hour to an hour. I'm currently at my mom's place because around 10:30 p.m. she picked me up from my dad's place. She suddenly called me towards 9:45 p.m. And after a bit mentioned pick me up from my dad's place, and I ended up accepting. And I brought over the clothes I brought, or at least most of the clothes I brought over from her place to my dad's place. Initially, I brought those clothes back and in a plastic bag, and my dad packed not only the food he shared of the food his mother gave him, that of which he shared with me of the food his mother gave him, and also some leftovers, such as some leftover steak and broccoli from an earlier dinner I had at my dad's place. In that same plastic bag, I also packed the cutter, cut-proof gloves, and name tag that I use for work at Wegmans, the Wegmans I work at. I brought all that over from my dad's place to my mom's place, along with my laptop case, which contains my laptop, the charger to my laptop, my computer mouse, and my headphones. And I believe this time around it also contained the charger to my phone. It usually does, but not always, so not quite as often as everything else. And I recall having 3 full cups. I think it was around 3 full cups of plain coffee at my dad's place. And somewhere around 3 full cups. And maybe a 4th partial cup with the last, but the 3rd full cup was last. Either that or the partial cup was last, and it was more than half a cup. Although I ended up kind of having to slam that cup of coffee down. The 4th partial cup was last after the 3 full cups. Though I had to drink that last cup, had to slam it as it was, as I was getting ready for my dad to drive me to the Wegmans I work at. It was around 11 in the morning when I took the picture of the completed triangle ball polystyrene drawing project. I accepted my second attempt at the picture after moving the polystyrene ball drawing a bit after the first attempt. The first attempt went fine. I just decided to move it a bit so that some stuff on the wall would be covered. Essentially, so the background would be clearer and have less clutter. Perhaps what happened with the first picture attempt had something to do with my room at my dad's place being a sort of upstairs attic room. But either way, ultimately the second attempt went perfectly fine, exactly as planned.